What's up, fam, and welcome back to another episode of the Handmaiden Podcast. I am your host, Naima. Thank you all for just the love that that I'm receiving, the emails, the messages, just about how everyone is just enjoying the podcast. Thank you so much. I had a few people reach out to me this week. That's not on the channel, or they just watch silently from the channel on the channel, and they were just their comments are about what they notice in the chats, the live chats, just the amount of love that they notice, and it's drawing them to want to be in the chats. So I just want to thank you all for that. I always wanted an environment where I could feel loved, or I would experience that love, and I want others to be able to experience it also. So thank you all for that. It's truly beautiful. I have some family who, they watch, and when they see the chats, they're like, wow, the love that's in the chat is just like, the vibe is so authentic, and I thank you guys for that. And I want that community to last. I love that. It's a good vibration, and these are the things that are going to elevate the consciousness and the vibration of our planet, because like I've said in a few videos, Earth is going through a transition. It is going through a transition, and so are the people in Earth. And these series have been about this process, this transition, this awakening. And we've gone into depth into how the planets, the stars, all of creation are facilitating in this, and it's all being orchestrated by the Most High. So today I want to get into a little bit more. So let's go ahead and dive a little bit deeper. So we've talked about, let me go ahead and start this. We talked a lot about the chakras, and we understand that there are higher levels of consciousness. They all have a frequency, and there is a and they're assigned a musical note. And we also know that there is a element that is assigned to each one of these chakras. Now, a lot of people get a little nervous when they start hearing about chakras, because they always associate it with, new age and all those types of things. But what I wanted to kind of bring out just a little bit before we dive deeper into the video today, or the podcast, um, many of you, if you've gone through the United States school system, or any school system, they use what's called the hierarchy of needs. And this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it is actually the chakras, but without saying that. Okay. What they do in order to educate a child, they say they have to educate the whole child. So you have to deal with their physical needs, their emotional needs. If they don't have a home to live in, they have to take all these different things into consideration, right? So that's when they started doing the reduced lunch, the free lunch, to make sure children had food. So essentially, it's the same thing as the chakras, and I have it here on the screen so you can kind of see and get a comparison. It's a little blurry because when I try to bring it to this document, it blurs. So you guys can actually go look it up. It's the chakras and the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you can see how they relate, how they are pretty much the same. So if you've gone through the school system, this is what they use. And I know this because I was a part of the school system, right? So when it comes to talking about chakras and things like that, there's no need to have fear. One thing I've said is that fear is not from the Most High, and the more you stay in that mindset, the more you bring it to you. Okay, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. All right. So if we approach everything from a fear mindset, that's exactly what you're going to see. on the outside. It's going to play out for you. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into this today. In the last video, we talked a little about Libra and we talked about Sagittarius and the moon. And I wanted to just recap on Libra today when we talked about the atoning work. So with Libra, it's the atoning work, right? So let's dig into the word atone. And it means make amends or reparation, right? So it means to be in harmony, agree, be in accordance, because we're still talking about this awakening, right? And we know that all the constellations, all of the planets, everything is facilitating in this awakening, right? So we determined that with Libra, it was the work. Remember, I said if we look at the the planets and the stars, look at them as a program, if that helps you understand it, right? And one of the programs from Libra is be in harmony, agree, be in accordance, right? So when we look at the word atone, it means to bring at one, to reconcile, right? And then I think I even discussed with you guys when you add atoning, which is for Libra, you see it here on the screen. The ing means it's something that is continuous. It's actually present continuous. So it's something that is that keeps on happening, right? Bringing it to harmony, bringing to oneness. This was the work of the Most High to continue to bring mankind into oneness, harmony, agreement. So we know that Libra is the Redeemer's atoning work. And we talked about the scales in the last video, be in harmony, be in agreement. And we talked about it being present continuous. I'm just recapping from the last episode. So if you didn't see that one, go check that one out, okay? All right. So what I did not talk about was Crooks. So that's why I wanted to bring that up and kind of discuss Crooks a little bit more. This is a constellation that is in Libra. So the Hebrew name for this, it means cutting off. And the last letter in the Hebrew alphabet, this is the last letter in the Hebrew alphabet. And I'm sure you guys have way more information on this, but I'm just going to skim over it for this video, okay? So this is what I realized. I was looking at that word crooks because when you see this constellation, or when you think of the atoning work of the Yeshaya, everyone always gets fixated on the cross, and then there are people who say we don't believe in the cross and all this stuff. Okay, so I wanted to go. I digged a little deeper and got a little bit more insight on this constellation. So if you look here, I dug up the definition for crooks because that's the name of it, right? It says the decisive or most important point of an issue. Sorry about that. You always hear it like, let's get to the crux of the matter. Let's get to the crux of the matter. So, what was the whole point in Yeshaya even coming to this earth? Man had fallen off. They were out of their minds. Okay? He came back to show you something. All through his miracles, he was showing you something. At that day ye shall know that I am in my Father, and ye in me, and I in you. The oneness, who you are. Man forgot who they were, you guys. The crux of it, the most important point, is that he came to remind you of who you are. Let's look at this word crucify. It means to be put to death by nailing or otherwise affixing to a cross, right? That's what most people are, associate that word with, right? But let's go into more some of the other prefix to it. So you have cruci, And then you have crux, which is the Latin word of it. And here we have crux here, right? So crux, fasten, to fasten, right? And then I just gave you the definition, which was to the decisive or most important point of the issue, right? So if we look here, an ancient mode of capital punishment, and that's what we really always associate crucify with, just him being nailed to the cross. And that was brought to us basically through Christianity, right? That's where they fixate, right? But it was deeper, right? It was deeper because if we look at the Hebrew name, it means cutting off. He was cutting something off. The decisive or most important point of an issue. What was the point? All right, let's dig. Then when we went into Libra, that was the corona, all a part of Libra constellation, corona, the crown. And we talked about these corona mass ejections and how we never even realized that our crown of light, our crown was a crown of light. And we went into that. Then we went into lupus, the victim. See, Christ came to be an example to show you that the Father was in him, right? And it's the same thing with us here now. The Father's in us. And we all came to earth to experience this. Earth has been a school for us. It has been a school. And each and every one of us have gone through some type of crucifixion. In the journey, the soul's journey to go back to who we truly are, all of us have gone through this type of crucifixion, right? Because each and every day we should be crucifying ourselves, dying from this mentality that we have created. Something to think about. God had veiled himself in thee as a human soul. That's The Way to the Kingdom by Joseph Benner. What I've noticed is I've really been enjoying like books from like the late 1800s, early 1900s. Something was going on in the realm of the spirit during that time. And then when I went to look at what was going on in the government, that was called their time of reconstruction. But I want to say that there was definitely another type of reconstruction. There was more light, more knowledge coming into the earth during that time. And it seems like for a period that those books were all closed off, but now they're all open. And I'm really enjoying reading some of those books. And you guys have been sending me a lot of those books as well. So I'm saying, okay, so it's moving. It's moving throughout the earth now. Something to think about. Plasma responds directly to consciousness in every living system. Let's go into Luke 17. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of God cometh not by observation. What? It cometh not by observation. Neither shall they say, lo, here, or lo, there. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And he said unto the disciples, the days will come when ye shall desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see it. And ye shall say to you, see here, or go there. Go not after them, nor follow them. For as the lightning that lighten up out of the part under heaven shineth unto the other part under heaven, so shall also the Son of Man be in his day. Now, we've talked a lot about this Schumann resonance. We talked a lot about the lightning. Many of you have read the Third Testament. He said here, the kingdom of God is within you. So that means the only way we're going to get to the kingdom is that we have to go within first. And who is within us? That great spirit. He is in us. He is in us. We have to go within. And that's why we've been talking a lot about clearing out our mind, clearing out our emotions so we can have that direct communication with him, so we can hear him when he speaks to us. Because in order to get to the kingdom, you have to first go within. Everything in our society has us going to something on the outside. You have to go to this person, understand this, that. No, he is within you. I always tell people when they call me, sis, what you think about this? What you think about that? Well, what do you think? Have you asked internally? We must go within. And he says, for as the lightning that lighteth out of one part under heaven shineth unto the other part under heaven, so shall also the Son of Man be. I always think that people are waiting for these big manifestations, guys, when stuff is happening right now. It's happening right now. As lightning flashes, it creates low frequency waves that circle Earth. And that's what I'm showing you right here. And the phenomenon is known as a Schumann resonance. And we've talked a lot about this Schumann resonance, that it is a part of the Great Awakening. If you go back and watch episode 1, we go into depth about that. I'm just tying things in now for you. Luke 12. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. So let's look at this word violence. It's physical force used to inflict injury or damage, right? And then it said weaken, a sense of improper treatment. And then you have the next one. It says to treat with violence, outrage, dishonor, perhaps an irregular strength, force, power, energy to go after. So what was they saying in Luke here about the kingdom of heaven, right? We have to take it. It suffereth violence. Now we know that the kingdom is within us, right? What is going on within us right now? What are some of the things that is making the kingdom of heaven suffer within you? Those emotions that we talked about, our thoughts, those idols of selfishness, anger, deceit, jealousy, envy. Those are the things that harm the kingdom of heaven within you. And here it's saying that you have to take it back by force. That means you have to go after it. You have to take authority over your thoughts, over your mind. You have to be the watchman over your mind. So don't be afraid, little flock, for it gives your Father great happiness to give you the kingdom. The kingdom is yours. But somewhere along the line, we lost sight of that. It's always been ours. Just like in The Wizard of Oz, you could always get back home. There are things in your way to prevent that. But once your mind is clear, it becomes real to you. Let's look at The Lion King, because to me, that movie was showing you right there. The kingdom of heaven, or the dimension of God, is within you. Knowing yourself is important. Let's look at an example of this, guys. Why it's important for us to really truly know who we are, right? Because there's a lot of stuff going on in this earth that is going haywire because the sons of God don't know who they are, right? When you meet someone and you say, I want to get to know you first, What exactly do we mean when we say we want to get to know someone? Just you guys think about it. What are you really saying when you say you want to get to know someone? See, your physical self, okay? Your physical self is just your DNA, it's your genetics, it's your identity. It's who you think you are or who you have believed yourself to be, right? Let's take a look. I'm going somewhere, guys. Y'all remember the Lion King? You forgot who you are. Remember when Simba looked into the water? And who did he see? He saw his father. And after he saw his father, what happened? He went back and took the kingdom. Woo! Woo! Let's keep going a little bit further because I'm going to show you guys this. If you're a male and you have a sense, if you are a male, you have a sense of masculine identity, right? You have muscles and male reproductive part, which help shape your reality. Okay. If you're feminine, you also have a reality of who you think you are. You have hips, thighs, you got the whole entire chicken box, which men will find attractive. They may. And so you have an identity of who you think you are. Because see, I told you guys, we have developed a completely different identity outside of who we truly are. This is an example what I'm showing you here. But what makes up the physical man? You have your cells, which are operating behind the scenes, and they're at war in the body, in this physical body. Our cells are at war. Your good cells fighting bad cells. If you've ever had your blood analyzed under a microscope, you can see the organisms interacting. They're sharing ideas and information. And I think I showed a video of this also a while back. Who are we? An illusion has happened. When someone says, I want to get to know you, they don't say, hey, let's open you up and see what's in your blood or inside your cells. See, really, guys, all people want to know is your personality. And your personality is basically just your ego. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? This is why it takes so long sometimes to get to truly know someone, especially if you're in a relationship, because everyone is really essentially, guys, they're acting. A man may say, I'm a CEO of a company, just so somebody can fall in love with him. A woman might say, hey, I've only been with one man, but really it's more. But since society says that's too much, she'll lie and she doesn't tell the truth. And then you'll find out later that this was false. See, when you fall in love with somebody's personality, you have fallen in love with the illusion, which will later cause pain and suffering. And see, this is what has been happening in our world. We're in an illusion. This is not our true identity. This is not our true reality. Let's go back into the mind because the foundation for light workers right now, the foundation is the shadow work, understanding who you are, understanding your mind. The God mind within. So let's take a look at the super conscious because Freud had three levels. He had the conscious mind, the preconscious mind, and the unconscious mind, right? In his model. Now I'm going to show you this other model. The God mind within each mind, and it is the realm of perfect ideas. This is a super conscious mind I'm talking about. So it's the God mind within each mind, male and female, right? And it is the realm of perfect ideas. In it, it is the perfect pattern. This was spoken of by Plato. Now, the divine design has a divine design, right? For there is a divine design for each person. And this would be like what the books and remembrance are talking about, your vision of created purpose, which you were created for. Because you remember, you guys, we come from that great spark. Everything in this world, intelligence, everything comes from that great spark. And it is truly Him that is expressing Himself through us when we allow it. That's what was supposed to happen. But we discussed in video 2 how man has gone off and we're actually misusing this gift of life that we have, because it is a treasure. It is a gift. This is a gift of life. Everyone, stop what you're doing right now. Take a deep breath in. Feel it going through your nostrils. Do you notice how your chest goes up and back, up and down? This breath that we are breathing is His, and it is a gift of life. But it has been misused. See, there is a perfect picture of this in the superconscious mind, who you are supposed to be. See, you hear people say, oh, we're existing different realities. Well, what they're talking about is in this superconscious, your truest nature, it's beauty, you're kind, you're beautiful, you're not sick. There are no limitations to what you can do or who you can be. See, it usually flashes across the conscious as an untainable idea, something too good to be true. So sometimes you'll get this idea. Like, for instance, for someone, it could be, hey, I can go back to school, right? And your mind is saying, no, I'm too old, I can't do that. But in your superconscious mind, that's what they see you doing. That's where that's a vision for you. Or maybe someone, you could be a doctor, or you'd be a beautiful wife, a good mother, right? But in this reality, you would say, oh no, it could never happen. But in the superconscious mind, it gives you the idea. See, what do you do with the idea? Do you just knock it? No, I can't do this, I can't do that. It gives you flashes of what you can do, what you can be. Who you truly are is what it's showing you. Do y'all feel me? In reality, it is man's true destiny or destination. It flashed to him from the infinite intelligence which is within you. Like a lot of people can say, for instance, I had a dream that I was supposed to go somewhere in a dream. And in my mind, you guys, in this reality here, I'm like, what in the world would I be going there for? There's no reason for me to go there. But I was given that through a dream that I should go to this place. And when I went, it was exactly where I was supposed to go. See, it gives you your flashes, maybe through your dreams, through your hunches, through a lead, or send someone to say something, which just confirms what you were already thinking. Because with the prophetic word, it's always going to confirm what has already been shown to you. There has not been a time that someone has come to me and say, hey, that it hadn't already been confirmed to me. See how that works? So all of this is happening in your superconscious mind. But the way Freud set it up, they don't discuss this part. Okay? Now let's go into creation. So we discussed we have the conscious mind, which is masculine. That's the leader. The conscious mind is the leader. It's like an atom, a type of atom. Let's look at it that way. That would be symbolic, because I told you guys this thing always plays out in the realm of the spirit and in this physical plane. Now, it conditions thought into the subconscious mind in order to create a belief that manifests into reality. So that's what your conscious mind does, right? It conditions a thought and then it sends it over to your subconscious mind. And this is for all of us. It sees life as it appears to be. Now, it sees death, disaster, sickness, poverty, and limitation of every kind. And guess what it does? It impresses it on the subconscious mind. But that is not how it was originally created to interpret things. It's doing what it's supposed to, but it's just that the environment now is not producing the fruit that it should. See, this is thought to be the carnal mind right here. Now let's go to the subconscious mind, which is the feminine, the follower. We'll look at this as like Eve. The subconscious is the helper of the conscious mind. See how that plays, guys? It's the seat of emotion and the storehouse of memories. Your subconscious mind is also known as the subjective mind because it is in subjection to the conscious mind. See, this I'm telling y'all, when you start understanding this stuff, you can understand where Paul was coming from. It is in subjective mind because it is in subjection to the conscious mind. I told you the Bible is all about your consciousness and returning back to oneness. Your aura field is also associated with the subconscious mind, and I talked about that in how like Earth has the ionosphere, all those the lights, and your body also emits lights. So if your subconscious mind is in negativity, your light on the outside is going to represent that. And there are people who have like black lights. This is true. This is true. We're so quick to say everything is new age, but I really understand it. It's people not really understanding. There's a reason for that. There's been a system that has come into play that has cut everybody off from spiritually understanding the soul's journey back to oneness. I'm not looking for validation. I already have validation. I'm not looking for it. So I'm not looking for people to agree with me on the things that I'm saying. I'm not. But I want you to know that the head of every man is Christ. And the head of the woman is man. And the head of Christ is God. Wives, submit unto your husbands as unto the Lord. Here we go. The superconscious mind, that is your divinity. The subconscious mind, and then you have the conscious mind. And the conscious mind is masculine, and the subconscious mind is feminine. And then you have divinity. The subconscious mind also creates reality. And we know that the children of the mind are our emotions like anger, helplessness, depression, love, joy, peace, etc. Okay? So let's talk about the kingdom. Most High is in us. I think that by now everybody has that. Christ said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." And he said the kingdom was in man. So the kingdom is the realm of right ideas, guys, or the divine pattern. That's the kingdom. We come from that one great spark, from that one fire, that one great fire. And we are sparks from that. Right ideas, oneness, no longer duality in thinking. in mindset. Identity. This is the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. That's identity. Man has lost his identity. See, your conscious mind is what most people associate with who you are, because that is where most people live day to day. Who are you? Oh, I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm this, I'm that. That's not truly who you are, though. See, Adam was assigned the task of naming everything in the garden because he knew what the Most High would name them. See, the man on this earth is supposed to give his family identity, right? The father, his son looks up to him. Dad says, I can do it. I can do it. He tells his daughter, oh, you're beautiful. She believes she's beautiful. See? You look at your wife, oh, babe, you look good today in that dress. Okay, she feels good. See? It's the same process. It's the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. I want to be like my dad. I am. The gatekeepers. The subconscious mind doesn't ask questions. It just creates whatever the conscious mind tells it. You guys, I want you to stick with me because I'm going somewhere with this. I have to give you the background information because what I'm going to go into next, you have to have this information. So that's why I'm kind of reviewing some of the things we already talked about. All right. So the conscious mind can be aware of both internal. So this is a conscious mind. That's the masculine. It can be aware of both internal mental functions and external happenings. So, like security, it should be a filter. The conscious mind is supposed to filter, it's supposed to be like a gatekeeper for the whole mind. Nothing should be able to get past the conscious mind, right? But what's happening is the conscious mind is not interpreting correctly now. And we're going to talk about that. Y'all ever wondered why Yeshua told the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman at the well, you have 5 husbands? Y'all ever wonder why? See, the conscious mind, it interprets through the 5 senses. It interprets through the 5 senses: smell, touch, hearing, what it sees. So right now, conscious mind sees wars. So it creates a thought and it sends it over to the subconscious mind. You see, wars, fear. Okay. This is how your mind works. And Shia told that woman, you have 5 husbands at home. And now we see here that the conscious mind, it interprets based off of the 5 senses. See, the subconscious mind is not aware of both internal mental functions and external happenings. It can't be. It just creates. But if the conscious mind is not giving it the correct information, if the conscious mind is not doing what it's supposed to do, the subconscious mind is unprotected. It can't create correctly. Do you see where I'm going with this? See, what's going on in the mind is playing out on the outside. And that's what I've been saying. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. This is why we have so much foolishness going on, because our minds have been cut off from our Father. Perception. It's the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. So the conscious mind, its perception has been kicked off. It's being bombarded with the things that it sees. Lust. If you go on these social media sites, see naked things all the time. You see this, you see that. It's being bombarded. And this is the same thing that is happening to the men, to man. You can say it's happening to the men, physical man, but then it's also happening to all of us because we all have a mind. But I'm showing you how it's going to play out in both now, both man and woman, because remember, it's going on what's happening in the mind. See, when we did this split in the garden, Adam and Eve was supposed to be like one soul. Somebody asked me why do I laugh in the videos? Because it's funny. That's why I laugh. Because when I sit here and I think about how this stuff was just right here in front of us, but never really put two and two together. So we see perception is the ability to see, hear, or become aware of something through the senses. The state of being or process of becoming aware of something through the senses. I kind of repeated myself. It's also discernment, appreciation, recognition, realization. See, something happened to the conscious mind. It's not in discernment. It's not in recognition and appreciation for how it truly is supposed to be. Something has happened. Also, it's a way of regarding, understanding, or interpreting something. Remember, Adam, he was able to identify and name all of the animals, name everything. Why? Because he knew the Most High's heart. He could interpret, he knew it. It's a way of regarding, understanding, or interpreting something. It's a mental impression. In the last video, I showed you guys that the commandment that says, "Thou shalt not have any graven image." We broke down graven and image, and we understand that it means you're not to have a deeply fixed mental impression of something other than what you were created to be. You're not supposed to have fear. You're not supposed to have anxiety, depression. No, that was never a part of the original plan. And when we talk about Adam and Eve and Enoch and them, they came back into oneness. They figured out who they were. And just like everyone else, we have to do the same. Now let's take a look. Let's look at this Nephilim, because we hear this word. And I'm going to say right now, I'm going to give you a different perspective today on this Nephilim. Some may agree, some may not, because some need to identify and label things. And to me, it's like, if I'm so fixated here, then I'm never going to pay attention to Naima and what's going on in Naima, because I'm fixated over here. Okay? So open your minds. Come on, let's reason together. Let's take a look at this Nephilim. And I said that I only will be speaking about the power of God, but I have to show you some things here. Because something has happened to humanity. So, looked up the definition. It says the falling ones. The extraordinary ones. Then it says male, gender, and divine nature. Y'all can go look this up. I like the stories that have come down to us, right? Because they're always very kind of like supernatural this or whatever, right? And that's how maybe some of the people of those different times could explain things, or it's a way to kind of cover up some things also. So one of the definitions that came up with it was cloud people, like rainmakers, river formers, right? But when I looked a little deeper, it meant cloud of darkness. Like there was a cloud of darkness surrounding them. Not like, just like it was always some type of darkness. All right. So let's look up the rest of the word, etymology of it. It means to fall, which appears to have to do with the verb to be extraordinary. Okay, so let's dig some more. So we have the cloud. We always hear about clouds now and put everything in the cloud. But let's take a deeper look. Here at Abaran Publications, because this is where I got this last part from. It says, we surmise that the Nephilim were not so much named for their great physical size, but rather for their wisdom and governance. The Bible clearly associates divine son not with a physical height, but rather with a knack for governance. And that's in Psalms 2, 7 through 12. And then you can look in Matthew. So, governance. And the Nephilim doubtlessly were reckoned for their magnificent rule and thus their booming societies. This is interesting. Booming societies? I mean, we see that now, right? Okay, let's keep going. The difference between us, we have smartphone toting moderns and our bearskin toting forebears is solely a matter of wisdom and social organization. So basically, we see those societies now, right? We see this grandeur living. And I'm not knocking it, but I'm saying this is what they did. They had schools, take kids out of the home, place them in schools so somebody else could teach them. And we saw that, I think, in the book of Moses. I think it was one of the books of Moses, I think it was, how that started, how this Babylon system started. Okay. So a less supernatural view holds that the Nephilim were simply men who fell away from righteousness. I know. You see the pictures like the man and then the image of like a animal, right? We see those and we associate those with Nephilims, right? Or giants, right? Part man, part beasts, part animal. When in actuality, when we talk about that, the chakra, was it the root chakra, where the selfishness comes into play, and just looking out for self, you see man there in a nature that is similar to an animal, out for theirs, just going, just thinking unconsciously. Let's keep going. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestations of the sons of God. Everything is waiting for man to wake up from this fallen state that we are in. It's time to wake up. You've been sleeping. Life has been but a dream. You've been in a fallen state. And it's very easy to sit here and say, this person is this, right? Without looking at yourself. It's easy to say this one has a Nephilim, but not really understanding this thing. So I'm going to show you today. Let's take a look. The plan. The fallen intelligence conspired to separate the divine image from us. Now we know, like the Nephilim, they had these major societies, these beautiful, these grandeur societies, all these different thriving governments, right? See, when you understand who you are and that the Most High is in you, and that when you speak a thing, you're creating. Because see, these societies know that they can get you to co-create for them, right? So when you understand that, you move into authority, you move into power then. But what has happened is there's some people who realize this way before any of us, and it's been handed down through the ages that God is in you. And if you speak a thing, it can happen. It will happen. There's some people who have misused that power. And so we have these beautiful societies where there's it's not equal, it's not fair. There's somebody at the top and then there's someone at the bottom, and that's not how it's supposed to be. And they've been able to take advantage. When the Most High is saying no more. No more. It's time to awaken. Let's dig in. The fallen intelligence conspired to separate the divine image from us. And since they understand that we are made in His image and we are co-creators, they have us create for them. They have manipulated the embryonic form of intelligence, for they conspired that they would not allow it to attain unto levels of divine knowledge. See, that's why a lot of books were taken away. That's why you have these secret societies. Right? That's not, we weren't created to have someone over us. That was never how it was supposed to be. They poured out an inferior feeling of below consciousness to seal the spiritual fate and prevent our evolution from connecting with the necessary stages of spiritual evolution needed to be one with the Most High. And I got this from the book of knowledge, the Keys of Enoch. Every book, guys, that I read now, before I read the book, has been given to me internally from the Most High. So when I read these books, it's confirmation of what was already said to me in my spirit. Okay? Because I know it's a lot of people who say, don't read this book, don't read that. Well, it is given to me. And then when I read the book, there's confirmation in there for me. Now, maybe some things in the book, okay, maybe some people don't agree with it, whatever. That's them. We all have, our souls all have a journey. And the Most High will meet us on our level. Okay? We're not going to cap how the Most High is going to get you to where He needs your soul to get to. So if you don't want to read a book, that's your business. Okay? But we're not going to knock other people for how the Most High might be leading them. And I'm telling y'all, this has been a whole systematic thing to stop people from listening from inside. You got to listen to this elder say, hey, don't read this. Excuse me. When the Most High is leading you to that resource. All of us have different assignments. What we came here for. And that was something that, Yeshua had to rebuke that spirit that started in Peter, because Peter didn't necessarily really understand Yeshua's mission. And that can happen. The Most High be leading you to something and somebody tell you, oh no, I wouldn't read that. Excuse me. The trap. These fallen intelligence created a hierarchy which is intended to control all religions on the planet in their idolatrous image of God. They caused the evolving root races of the planet to cohabitate with the fallen Nephilim forces so as to create a race in the image of them. Well, what is this image? Because I'm telling you guys, I want us to let's reason together, I want us to look at a mindset. Those who do not aspire to anything beyond the material physical form, that's who you can associate with that mindset, that Nephilim mindset. They do not want to aspire to anything beyond the material or physical form. That's in the keys of Enoch. See? They just want to stay in the physical, never anything spiritual. The carnal mind does not understand the spiritual. What is their image? It is the carnal mind. It is a split identity. When we were given a tool to help us identify the carnal mind. It's the fruits of the spirit. It's the evidence of the Holy Spirit working through you. Your divine self is working. So you display the fruits of the spirit. It doesn't mean that you are perfect, but you have started the process. See? I'm going deeper because I really want to bring out this point about cohabitating with the Nephilim and what it breeds. Okay? Let's go. We were derailed. One of the things they did was corrupt both the physical radiations of the sons of light, entering the physical plane, and the daughters of God. So they corrupted man's mind. We were light. We didn't have physical bodies at first. We were light. We have been corrupted. Our minds have been corrupted. I mean, the women started wearing all these different things. It started making them, beautify themselves, and so they would bring the men into lust and all those things. That's vanity. And I'm not saying people can't, fix themselves up and stuff like that. You guys know what I mean. If you really look at this thing, it's about intentions. What is your intent? Right? When you put that dress on, or when you put that suit on, whatever you do, what is your intentions? So, thus, the daughters of God were prevented from manifesting the higher teaching on the earth plane by corrupt priesthoods. So they got the women out of their order, right? And these corrupt priesthoods said, shut women up, be quiet, don't have them say nothing. Because they knew that the woman had something that she was sent here to say from the Most High God. There was a level of spirituality that women hold. So whenever you see any organization, anything say shut women up, there is order, yeah. But you see here, it's saying there were some priesthoods that were responsible for that. The Bible says, have no other gods before me. I will be like the Most High. And all the world wondered after the beast. Ooh. I want us to do some thinking here. All right? This fallen mindset, we've fallen. Oneness, that's the image of God. We know that. You remember who you are, you remember what you are. I remember oneness. That part, the Most High, you go within. The Most High start leading you. You think how he would think. You do what he would do. You be what he would be. And this is a process. Becoming one does not happen in one instant. It's a continuous process of becoming. Duality, that's the image of the beast. That's the image of the beast. Adultery, fear, gossiping, that's not of the Most High. This is how the world is now running after the beast. That's his image, the beast image, carnality, not thinking consciously, selfish, only looking out for self. Animals, they don't consider all these different things like how we're supposed to think critically. They just do. And that's what's happening with society. They're in duality. Know the game. The conscious mind should be protector, a filter of the mind, but it is being bombarded through the five senses. Remember I told you? With the cares of the world. The eyes, things that's going on, the ears, what it's listening to, the, what it says, what's being spoken, right? The skin, the food, everything is affecting the consciousness. When the enemy, what was done in the garden, you guys, to the mind, is still being done today. They're just bypassing the conscious mind. They're bypassing Adam. They're bypassing the man, because the man should be the protector, the priest. But they've been hit with the cares of this world. Men have been demasculated. They've been taken out of the home, the system, the workforce. It's the same thing that's happened to the mind. Right? So they're bypassing the conscious mind and going straight for the subconscious mind, which would be Eve, the woman. And we see that all the time. Because he knows the subconscious mind does what it is programmed to do, which is create. And if you have a society that you want and you need someone at the bottom of the totem pole and you need people to work, you're going to get them to create for you. That's the way you would have to do it to get what you want. These jobs that we have is different than the work that you were sitting here for. The jobs you're getting paid for, that's work, yeah. But you were sitting here for a work to do. But you're trying to pay this bill, do this, have this house, have this car. See? It's these societies that they have put up. And we've conformed to it. Got bills now. You can't do the work that you were sent here to do because you got to take care of this over here. See? It's a trap. When you're a child, your imagination, you say, I want to be this, I'm going to be that. And somebody tells you, break your spirit and say, no, you can't do that because you're going to have to go, you got to pay bills, you got to do this. When the whole time the Most High said, you have to be like a child to enter the kingdom. See? Essentially, guys, all of humanity is being pimped right now. Everybody. Yeah. What happens in the mind plays out in the physical because we're created in God's image. We're always creating. Let's look at the Willie Lynch, how to make a slave. And I want to say this. I'm just going to pull out some highlights from this, but I want to say that they focused on one race of people. But I want to tell you, once I start explaining this to you, you guys are going to see this is happening to everyone. Everyone. And anyone who thinks that they're above this mind programming, that's ridiculous. It's happening to everyone. And it's so interesting. And I guess you would have to put a people here so people wouldn't really catch on to what's really happening. So it was the interest and business of slaveholders to study human nature and the slave nature in particular, right? They use fear, distrust, and envy for control. See, every moment happens twice. It happens inside and it happens outside. Those are like realities right there. And there are two different histories. Let's go. So let's look at the hijack of the mind. Let's make a slave. And many of you have already heard this. And we're not reading this so people can get upset and blaze, um, start pointing fingers and stuff. I want you to see how your mind has been hijacked, how our world's mind has been hijacked. And the Most High wants us to wake up now. They put this thing on paper, man. They put this thing straight in paper. It's right here in front of you. First of all, we need a black nigga man. Okay, so you need the conscious mind. And then we need a pregnant nigga woman. Okay, that's the subconscious mind. And then they need the baby. Here you have creation. Second, we'll use the same basic principle that we use in breaking a horse, combined with some or more sustaining factors. What we do with horses is that we break them from one form of life. Woo, let me read that again. We break them from one form of life to another. That is, we reduce them from their natural state in nature. Remember, I told you DID? We have dissociative identity disorder. We have been split from our creator to a whole nother mindset. When I went back and read this thing from what this information that you guys, we have been going over, I said, man, this was the layout right here. This is how the fallen intelligence, this fallen mindset continues to perpetuate this system. Whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring, we break that natural string of independence from them and thereby create a dependency status. See, that's why we can't even go within. If you tell people now, just ask the Most High, some people know they need to go ask their elder. See, these religious systems have done that to you. We're no longer spiritual. We're dependent on someone else. See, you don't have to come to my channel and stay with me. I want you to go get this and go show somebody else and let them show somebody else. And let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. So let's go back. It says we break that natural string of independence from them, and they thereby create a dependency status so that they may be able to get from them. So we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure. Create these religious organizations, these systems, you bring them money. And I'm not saying all of them are deceitful. No, I'm not saying that. Let's have some sense here. But I'm saying when they put these systems in place, is to take you away from going within. See, this is how you take somebody's power. Right? Creation of the Nephilim mindset. For they will have the tendency to seek their customary freedom. It's in all of us. God has placed a desire in all of us to seek him. That's why you got so many of these religions and stuff. And in doing so, it might kill you in your sleep. So that's the fear. Hey, if they know this power, they're going to be killed. So we're going to stamp new age on everything. We can't have this. We need to maintain our wealth up here. We need janitors and custodians. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But what I'm saying is it's not equal. It's not fair. The system is not fair. Above all, you cannot get them to work in this natural state. See? Hence, both the horse and the nigger must be broken. That is, breaking them from one form of mental life to another. What? Keep the body, take the mind. In other words, break. In other words, break their will to resist. Typo there. See? Some people we tell them this and their minds start glitching because they can't even fathom what I'm saying right now. You must keep your eye and thoughts on the female. See what I said earlier? See? We're going to take the masculine, we're going to take the conscious mind, we're going to bypass the conscious mind and go straight to the what? The subconscious mind, because that's where creation is happening. And then they said it here in this Lynch letter. So we're going to keep your eye and thoughts on the female and the offspring of the horse and the nigger. A brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generation of original breaking. But concentrate on future generations. So we're going to have them bombarded with social media, with all these rap and these musics and things that don't foster them to remember who they truly are. And the thing is, I work with high school students, 11th and 12th grade, and I'm going to tell you something. They know more than us. They have the potential to finish this work up, but they've been bombarded with all these things now. When you sit down and you really talk to them, they have a lot of sense. And I know this is one reason why they've targeted the kids. Kids are still have a certain pureness to them. They still have a certain level of faith in them. Whereas us, we get older, that gets knocked out of some of us. You see your little children there. They see something on TV. Oh, I want this. I want that. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get that. They're not thinking about how they're gonna get it. They not think. They just know mom and dad gonna supply it, right? They're not thinking about the obstacles. You may not have the money. That's a level of faith that we should still have in the Most High. Like whatever we ask, we're gonna receive. These children still have that, and these teenagers, they still have that mindset. Experience has not knocked them to where they won't try something new yet. See, you go to the older generation with some of this stuff we talking about right now. Oh no, they don't want to hear none of this. It can't be. And some of us have gotten that way also. When we're clearly supposed to be climbing Jacob's ladder, growing and expanding, and moving back into oneness. So if you break the female mother, she will break the offspring in its early years of development. And when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up for you. For her normal female protective tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. So remember, the children of the subconscious mind is emotions. And emotions of anger, fear, lust, and all those things, that's not originally how you were created to be. This is duality. This is the beast image. This is the Nephilim mindset. And they laid it out right here. The breaking process of the African woman. Let's take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. You need to test her in every way. She is the most important factor for good economics. Your subconscious mind is the most important part because that's where creation takes place. If she allows any sign of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of resistance out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil the good economic. When in complete submission, she would train her offsprings in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. So if you can go bypass the conscious mind and send subliminals to the subconscious mind, which all these movies, all these things, some of the songs, a lot of them, what's happening here is they're bypass the conscious mind and going straight to the subconscious mind. And you're being reprogrammed. Right? So like if you watch a scary movie, that's creating like that fight or flight mode in you, in your body. And what it does when it puts you in fight or flight mode, scary mode, what happened is you're pulling from the other organs in your body. So it's throwing your body off. And we talked about that. What happens, those emotions, those different diseases, illnesses that come. And you keep watching things on the news. What are you flooding your subconscious mind with? Nothing but fear. Some of these shows, you watch shows about bad marriages, bad relationships, people screaming and fighting. What are you filling your subconscious mind with? You're around people who everything is fear. Christ gave us an example when he was sleeping in the middle of a storm, letting you know, I don't care what's going on in this world outside of you. If you abide in me and I abide in you, you're going to be fine. But see, we can't even comprehend that when we're in duality. It's like cliche because we've been hearing these things for so many years. You don't really truly believe in the power of God. We're always learning, but we don't really understand this power, because if we did, we would see we can wrap this thing up. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper in this area of the subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking process of the female nigger. We have reversed the relationship in her natural uncivilized state. So it was always saying uncivilized, but that's a lie, because God made us perfect. She would have strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male, and she would have limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring, and would raise male offsprings to be dependent like her. See? So if I can bombard the subconscious mind with all kind of stuff, subliminals and all types of things, we can keep it in fear, keep people divided against each other through hate. You can still keep these emotions going, divisiveness and all these things. A nation, a kingdom divided against itself will not prosper. See? If we truly all came together, even male and female, a lot of these religions practice separatism. Male here, female here. That's not oneness. Oh, hey, I'm not looking for validation. I'm not. I'm going to speak my truth, the truth that's been given to me, regardless of who likes it or not. This is not the way. Mindset. Nature had provided for this type of balance. We reverse nature by burning and pulling a civilized nigger apart, bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. See? They bypassed the conscious mind. They flooded it with fear, wars, money, all those different things. it can't even filter anymore. It can't filter properly. Its perception is off. So that leaves the subconscious mind just open. And we see this play out here in the physical plane. See? Men are over here, women are over here. There's no meeting of the minds, and they come together. It's a hierarchy thing sometimes. But the Most High is cleaning that up. That's a part of this awakening. That's why I said moving forward that it will be righteous marriages, because the Most High is going to show through them of oneness coming together, two souls coming together, oneness. Yeah. Hmm. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychological dependent state to a frozen independent state. See? See what's been done to the mind? And if it's happening to the mind, it's happened to what? See, this is the physical form of slavery, but what I'm showing you is the mental form of slavery. And how this society, our society, is enslaving the mind. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. So you'll have men who are physically strong, but they're mentally, they're gone. See? You want to understand how you continue a Nephilim mindset? This is it right here. Because she has become psychologically independent, she would train her female offspring to be psychologically independent. So she'll have the women, they'll have the women over here. They don't need nobody. Or they don't need to listen to you. Because listen, they listen to you. You already mentally weak. See? What have you got? You got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind scared. You don't have the conscious mind filtering, being the watchman, the watch the gatekeeper for the mind. And you don't have the physical man. He's not the gatekeeper because he's been mentally suppressed. There's nobody guarding the woman. And maybe a lot of times she don't even want the guard, someone to guard. That's how it's been set up. But see, the Most High, I told you, this is the awakening. These old mindsets, they have to go. They're going to go. These religious organizations, establishments that continue to um, promote poverty of soul, they're gonna go. It has to go. This is our time to heal. But a lot of times you don't even know what you need to heal from. See, this is a perfect situation of sound sleep and economic. See what I said? We've been asleep. Before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, this woman stands guard for us. Now, who was supposed to be in guard? The man and the conscious mind. He could not get past her early slave molding process. Continually through the breaking of uncivilized, and you see this, they use that word continually through the breaking of uncivilized savage nigger, by throwing the nigger female savage into a frozen psychological state of independence, by killing of the protective male image. They took our God away too. And by creating a submissive dependent mind of the nigger male slave, we have created an orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever. Unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and female slaves. This is a phenomenon, this great awakening, what the Most High is doing in this earth. He is waking us all up. This is the phenomenon. This is the end of the Nephilim mindset. When we breed two nigger males with two nigger females, then we take the nigger males away from them and keep them moving and working. Say one nigger female bears a nigger female and the other bears a nigger male. Both nigger females, being without influence of the nigger male image, frozen within the independent psychology, will raise their offsprings into reverse positions. The one with the female offspring will teach her to be like herself, independent and negotiable. And the one with the nigger male offspring, she being frozen with a subconscious fear for his life, will raise him to be mentally dependent and weak. In other words, body over mind. Now, in a few years, when these two offsprings become fertile for early reproduction, we will mate and breed them and continue the cycle. See, this is how this mindset continues. This is why, when they said that they were mixing in marriage and all those things, that's this mindset right here. Continuing this mindset. It's a cycle. When you get two people together who understand who they are, they understand who the Most High is, that He's in them. That's the phenomenon they don't want to happen. The Most High saying, this stops now. That's why we talked about the repair of the breach, people coming in and addressing things in their family bloodline and stopping the cycle of continue bad emotions and continue negative behaviors. This is not easy to face yourself, but it must be done. It must be done. The end of this reality is coming to an end. This reality, this duality is coming to an end. We are at the end of a cosmic cycle. And you must do the work. You must do this work. I have a type over here, but the gatekeeper of the mind, the left side of the brain, that's the conscious mind. That's your rational, analytical comprehension, the action of or capability of understanding something. That's the left side. Low comprehension also occurs in the middle left side of the brain. So see, the left side would be like the masculine, right? So if you can keep them bombarded with the five senses, those five husbands, those five idols, so that they can't interpret right, then they're not going to protect. The comprehension is low. Their perception, they can't understand. See? The carnal mind does not understand the things of the spirit. Which side of the brain is analytical? Another area is the left. I just talked about that. The left hemisphere is close to the auditory cortex. This is necessary for speech comprehension. This area contains neurons that deal with comprehension. So that's why they mentally had to go after the masculine. Right? So they would breed them and he'd be strong, yeah. Strong masculinity, don't cry, no nothing. But mentally, he was low, couldn't understand. And it's the same thing they've done to the conscious mind. They've bombarded it with, through the five senses, all the things that's happening in this world. So it cannot interpret correctly. It can't perceive correctly. So therefore, you can have the subconscious mind just creating wrong things. The right side of the brain tends to use more creative fantasy, philosophical thinking, whereas the left side of the brain focuses more on facts, numbers, and analytical thinking. When you daydream, you're using the right side of your brain. See, we try to approach the Most High from the left side, the analytical side. That side cannot comprehend spiritual things. That super conscious that we talked about is going to send you things that the conscious mind is going to say you can't do it. That's not realistic because that's the logical side of you. But the super conscious is always going way above, because higher than the highest human thought could reach is the Most High's ideal for his children. It serves a purpose in organization, and you need logical thinking. But if you always come through the logical lens when it comes to the Most High, you will not understand. They wanted to control the language. They did crossbreeding. See, language is a peculiar institution. It leads to the heart of a people. The more a foreigner knows about the language of another country, the more he's able to move through all levels of that society. So this was one of the things here, the language. We can't even understand the language, the light language, the codes that's coming in. When I tell you about the human resonance, and then we talk about your frequencies, those light, that's light. We can't interpret the sounds of the spheres. They're playing a beautiful music right now for us. See? Trauma. If you look here into this left side, I have low emotions. When you're calm and you're relaxed, right? That's how the brain looks. But high emotions, it damages your cortex. You have anger, fear, excitement, love, hate, disgust. It interrupts how you comprehend. And let's take a look at trauma. It's a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. And so anything that deeply stresses you out, that's trauma, guys. That's trauma. A mental health condition that develops PTSD. That's a mental health condition that develops following a traumatic event, characterized by intrusive thoughts, see, about the incident, recurrent distress, anxiety, flashback avoidance, similar situation. That's PTSD, is trauma. It's trauma. The whole human population is in PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, from being separated from their God, not knowing that He is within. These systems, these societies that they have arranged us into, their religions, everything, it has separated us, and it continues to separate us unless a phenomenon occurs. And those of us who do break free, people act like they don't, like you some kind of, you just off. Well, I'm going against the norm. See, your body is an alarm. There are a number of disorders that result from direct damage of or death of brain cells within your cerebral cortex. I just showed you that picture. These disorder symptoms vary depending on which area is damaged. There are four primary areas: the frontal lobes, your temporal, in the cerebral cortex. You that's where you have the trauma symptoms. See, you have high emotions. You're damaging your brain. And this is the society that has been created to do that. This is the fallen mindset. This is man in his fallen state. And here's some of the symptoms: apathy or complete loss of interest in life, difficulty in planning basic tasks such as making a cup of coffee, loss of thinking, flexibility, difficulty focusing on completing a task, difficulty speaking in social settings, often repeating actions without any awareness of doing so, mood swings, offensive outburst or inappropriate behavior, weakness along one side of the face or body, that's like the cerebral palsy, difficulty walking properly, disorders such as ADHD. See, this is all a part of this fallen mindset, guys. And you know it has to be a fallen mindset when they start putting things in foods to make you sick, to keep you inferior. This is what the Lord, this is why we have to get this, because we would kill each other. It's time for the prodigal sons to come back home. It's time for us to come back in oneness. It doesn't matter who doesn't go with you, who doesn't agree. It is time for each of us individually to make that decision. How do they bypass the conscious mind? You guys tell me down below, because I could tell you. And I'm sure you guys can tell me too. How do they what are some of the programmings they have that go right past the conscious mind and go straight to the subconscious mind? Number one, we know music for sure. Comment down below, tell me. See, the future is not feminine, it is union. Masculine and feminine in oneness. Men and women of this beautiful earth capable of a new consciousness. If it is one based in love, of service to life, letting go of judgment, stereotypes, and limited belief systems, and of opening up to compassion for all life. As the conscious is anchored, spiritual growth becomes rapid. So the more your consciousness comes online, the more you're going to see that spiritual growth. There will be bumps and bruises, but it's necessary, guys. We have to let go of old notions of what it is to be a man, right? And you guys know what I mean by that, because they build this facade for men, this toxic masculinity, where men are not able to take a load off. They can't. It's not normal for them to be in front of their loved one and just say, I just break down in tears and cry, without it being like, oh, you need to do it, you need to man up, or no, man. Do you know what is like one of the number one deaths of men is heart attack? We have to pray for our men. They need an outlet. This life has beat them down. But the Lord showed me he was restoring them and bringing them back into the oneness. Yes. They will not be a part of fraternities, even within these groups and camps and churches. It will be back in a family unit. It's good to have brotherhood, yes. But these fraternities of women are kicked out, no women allowed mindsets, that's got to go. That's going. It's gone. Letting go of what you think it is to be a woman. You think you got to look this certain way and that. The gossip, the backbiting, that has to go. It is going. Letting go of emasculation or victimization, letting go of wounding. It all has to go. We have to raise. I'm telling you guys, it's very important that you understand that you are a sanctuary. You house the Most High in you. And in this sanctuary, you cannot let in any low level vibrations. You can't have the same conversations because you're always creating. You can't hang out necessarily with the same people because you are always creating. I hope this has been a blessing to you. Thank you all for helping with the nonprofit organization, Helping Hands for a Higher. I'll leave the link to that in the description box. I thank everyone who's tuned in for the podcast. I'm enjoying seeing the growth of the podcast. It's growing leaps and bounds. Thank you guys for downloading the podcast. Thank you all for going to our website, Restore Peace and Harmony, and picking up the books, the journals. I'm hearing so much good feedback. The people who are in the 21-day challenge, um, they're seeing so many differences in their thought process, and so I'm thankful to you all. I'm thankful for the community we have here on this channel. Um, I definitely know that some of you guys are in my soul tribe. It is very important that you find your soul tribe, people who pour into you, and you can pour into them, people who are um, comfortable with your success and you're comfortable with them. It is very important that you find your soul tribe. I thank you all so much. I love you so much. And thank you for stopping by the podcast and the YouTube. Have a wonderful day. Be a blessing to someone. Shalom.